Hello and welcome. Welcome everybody to the Earth Show and welcome my dear co-host and dear friend Marcin. Hey, great to
Hi,
have you back.
Roland.
So,
Yeah,
how are you doing?
welcome everyone. Hi, Roland. Yeah, I'm pretty much okay. So excited for today's topic.
Very, very good. Yes, and to our listeners, wherever you're listening on a podcast, on a radio show, or viewing us on any device, first of all, a happy new year. Well, happy new year. All the best for 2023. And welcome to our first show after a longer break, to first Earth show in the new year. My name is Roland, and together with Marcin, we're running the Earth show. And in the meantime, we haven't been lazy. We also launched our website. It's Respect Mother Earth. The logo you see in our backgrounds, Respect Mother Earth. The website is available in English and in German at the moment. So check it out and give us your feedback. And you also, of course, have our contact details. It's contact at Mother Earth, respectmother.earth.com. So far, so good. So, Masif, yeah, we have a new topic. Maybe it's a new year. We have some new followers, new people listening. Maybe before we start, maybe introduce ourselves a little bit in the new year, a little bit about your environment, background, what you're doing, where you're located.
Sure. So, if you are here for the first time, welcome. I'm very happy that you are listening. My name is Marcin, and I'm from Poland. Originally, now I moved out from the 3 million people city to live in the countryside, and this is the place when I grew up. So basically, I just lived in the forest and the woods of wild part of the country, and I think from that days I just derived my love to nature. And furthermore, I just finished my master degree in biology to know everything that I was interested in. But later on, I decided to work more with people as a part of nature as well. So now I'm almost a psychologist, just finger crossed for my master degree again. And I still have my deepest love and understanding and fascination with the wildlife which is around me right now. I'm just linking and using internet to work remotely in a very far and very small village. So I think that's it about me and why am I here, what this topic is important for me. I just want to do everything that I can and influence as much as I can the situation on Earth, which is our home. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Marcin. And for our listeners, Marcin is also one of the panelists together, actually 2 hours later on the Wild at Heart on the Man Show. So, yeah, my name is Roland. I'm originally from Austria, a small little country in the middle of Europe. Um, for my background, I run a business in Switzerland since many, many years. I do consulting, coaching, um, training, as I say, sparring. We spare our international huge clients worldwide, but also not only international big companies, also startup companies who need our advice, our support. That's my main business since more than 2.5 decades that I'm running that. And besides them, I have two major topics I'm very into it. This is the men's work I'm doing. I run men's group online, but I also do here on USA Global to Win Radio just 2 hours later, the Wild at Heart show for men, by men, uh, about men. And the other topic is environmental man, environment. That's why I started a foundation together with my girlfriend called Respect Mother Earth, because I strongly believe that we should respect, like we do our mother who gave birth to us, that we respect our mother, our parents. We also should respect, of course, Mother Earth and or Bodhi Mama that the Indians say from India, or Pancha Mama like in South America, many other cultures. And that's why what I'm doing, because I traveled a lot. Right now, I'm streaming from a motorhome. Some of you may know who listen to other shows that I live full time in my motorhome since I left Mallorca. That was my home base. The last 14 years has been my home base. And in March last year, actually end of March, beginning of April last year, I moved full time in my motorhome. I traveled through Austria, Germany, France. I spent 3 months in Spain, and now I'm since more, so almost a month. A month now. I'm now here in Portugal, in the south in South Portugal. It's in the Algarve. And since I'm traveling, not only with my motorhome, but all the years before, I've been to all parts of the world except Australia, North America, Middle America, South America, Asia, Africa, many parts of the world. I love snorkeling and this, and I saw all this pollution that's going on, especially in Asia. And so I started many events of like beach cleaning and educating people in different kind of stuff like that. And that's what we also do here in the Earth Show together, MARCIN, and you will, you agree with me. It's not about, this show is not about a finger pointing, don't do this, don't do this. It's just educating. And the reason why MARCIN and I do it, because we want to become your role model, maybe what we do on a daily basis to respect Mother Earth. How we, for example, how we collect plastic when we are walking on the beach or in the forest, or how we even avoid plastic when we go shopping. Maybe how we look at the food we eat, where it's come from. Do we have to have, I don't know, strawberries in winter and import them thousands of miles and stuff like that? And yeah, this evening, today we talk about this evening, because here in Europe, or this lunchtime in the US, wherever you follow us, we are going to talk about understanding how and when to feed wild animals. And the best way is maybe not to feed them, don't harm them, but most people do it. And so I'm very happy that I do a kind of interview together with my dear friend and colleague MARCIN, because he's from his background, he's a specialist on that, about wild animal feeding. So MARCIN, I guess before we start, I think we can harm wild animals when we feed at the wrong time, the wrong stuff, or too much. Of course, we go deeper to this in a while. But I think most people don't do it on purpose, you know. They want to help animals, you know, especially in winter when it's cold, it's icy, it's a lot of snow. So we feed. I remember as a kid, my grandmoms, you always had a small house for the birds outside, feeding the birds. Or our neighbor who is a hunter was feeding the deers, the animals in the forest in winter, because the snow sometimes was more than 2 meters high, stuff like that. People go to a zoo or wild park, they want to feed them. So they want to help animals, especially kids, of course. But we also can do consciously or unconsciously, because I guess it's not on purpose. We can harm them by doing the wrong stuff.
Yeah, actually, before the show, I got this comment that, in an ideal world, we would not be feeding any wild animals, right? Not to disturb these natural relationships that they have between each other, not to help Mother Nature with eliminating, for example, the weakest parts of the herd. So, in a way, feeding animals is not the best thing that we can do. But it would be true not only in the perfect world where our influence on nature would be not existent, since our businesses, homes, I don't know, streets, infrastructures, cities influence nature big time. We cannot say that anything on Earth is undisturbed, right? Because of our presence and all the pollutions and noises and well, disturbance of Earth and everything. So knowing that we already are disturbing somehow the natural ways for animals to feed, many people use the occasion to also just see with our own eyes, like wild birds or other animals or squirrels or hummingbirds, for example, because we love how they look and we like to observe their actions. I don't know what they do, how they look like, and that's why we are feeding them. And yes, also from the good heart, so we want just to support somehow the nature, but as you said, it's not always the very good idea. So I hope today we will dig deeper together into this topic to learn more together how to do it if we want to anyhow support the wild animals.
Absolutely. Before we go deeper, what came to my mind, MARCIN, was when you talked about that we human beings, we have more infrastructure, we have more roads and buildings, and their seatings are spreading and spreading, and just less place for wild animals. I saw a comment a few months ago where somebody said, okay, wild animals are crossing the road. I said, no, they're not crossing the road. We are crossing their path of the road. It's the other way.
Exactly.
They've been there
Yeah.
before we came. So it's a different, absolutely different point of view. And another thing that came to my mind was, I remember when I was younger, so a kid, and my parents had a TV set, and when we watched a documentary, I love documentary about animals. There were some documentaries on TV shows about animals in Africa and Asia, whatever. And I will never forget it, because one day I said they're filming a scene where a small baby deer was caught and of course killed eaten by a tiger. I will never forget the scene. It was somewhere in India. And I said to my dad, why is this they're filming? Why don't they help them? Why they're filming? And I said, that's nature. That's nature. That's part of the game. Okay? It's all about, because we only have two purposes in life. It's surviving and how to say, and multiply ourselves, so get kids and produce our kids. That's the purpose in life for all human beings. So to survive, a tiger eats meat. He's not a vegan. He eats meat, for example. So, but I had to learn this, and sometimes nature, especially for us in the Western world, it looks a little bit brutal when animals are killed or suffering. But that's the way it is.
Hmm. Yeah. Actually, it's funny that we think that the tiger eating, I don't know, a gnu, antelope, or something like that, or baby deer, is brutal and bad. But every day we eat burgers. And come on,
Yeah.
guys, we are carnivores mostly, so are doing the same, but just in other environments, right? So I'm more into well, the kind of thinking that we are part of the nature, whether we like it or not, because we are living on this planet. And to our knowledge, we are the only species that is just conscious about what we are doing. So probably other species are also trying to, I know, sustain their life, multiply, thrive, and kind of be happy, but they just do not know that they are doing so. So for us, the thing is more complicated. Because we are overthinkers. We need internet, we need communication, we need media, we need art, we need everything to keep us happy. So it just turns out that in many occasions we are disturbing lives of many other species by our own desires. So I'm not here to blame human nature. And I'm not here to judge that we are just the bad thing that happens to this planet. I'm more into understanding the connections between us and the environment, and understanding that we are part of it and we can play some role as we are already playing it. It not always need to be the role of the bad guy. Sometimes we also can be like an angel for some stray animals, for example, or hurt wildlife, whatever. So yeah, I think it's time to get to the topic.
Yeah, what came to my head when you've been talking, Marcel, I just got a picture, even a movie in my head. Some predators like wolves, or I don't know, lions. They come together and sit in a group. The old one, and they have a discussion. Guys, shouldn't we go vegan? Maybe it's more healthy. It's more ethical. Shouldn't we do that?
Yeah, so I don't know if our conscious is a miracle, or I don't know, some kind of bad luck, but yeah, most of the time we are conscious about what we
Yeah.
are doing. So we need to educate, we need to gain knowledge what our animals can do just by the birthright. So many times we see on those beautiful movies created, for example, with my dearest idol, Sir David Attenborough, and we can see how the baby deer is coming out of the mother and then right away stand up on its feet, and it's ready to feed and I don't know, travel miles. And look at our babies, they are unable and they can do nothing by their own, and we need to just educate, like for many, many years. And some of us cannot be self-sustainable even in the adulthood. So
Yeah, that's
some of
true.
us never mature.
That's true. Okay, let's go to the topic. So, what do you think, from your experience, from a professional point of view, are
Mhm,
some main mistakes people are doing and,
mhm.
and should avoid?
Yeah, I prepared like 5 common mistakes that I want to talk to you about because also I'm not here to judge anyone and to just point fingers because I did some of these mistakes myself. So I just pointed out some topics, some situations when we can just cross some boundaries without even knowing that. So, assuming that you want to support wild animals in the winter time, if there is a kind of a winter in where you are from, then there are some things that you should avoid if you want to do it right. And for that, I need a presentation that I prepared. So the question is already here. And when we think about feeding animals, especially here in Europe, probably we think about it will sound it will only sound strange because I'm not a native. So teats, right? I mean birds, teats. So we think about these beautiful birds that we can feed during the winter time when there is not enough food for them to sustain. And for some of you that are with us, and was with us previously, you may remember this photo. It was also a little contest to guess what this is and what it is for. So here is a picture from my porch. So you can see seeds of sunflower that I just kept to feed birds, and this is one of the best ways that we can provide natural food to wildlife. So if you have a garden, just plant um, some plants that will produce seeds, fruits that wildlife can feed on, not only birds but also insects and various small creatures. So the first and best way to help nature is to use nature's way. So you can just plant some sunflowers, they look beautiful, and after they mature, you can harvest the flowers to just present it to the birds during the winter time. So that's one of the examples, just to show you that I also do it, and I'm here to blame as well. So I gathered like 5 common mistakes that we can talk about in this topic. So when actually we can do more harm than good by feeding wild animals. So first, timing is crucial. So we should avoid feeding animals when they can just obtain their food in a natural way. So if this is like a peak of a season and there is plenty of seeds and vegetables and fruits and insects around them, birds do not really care for us feeding them. So it is not a very good time because you can make some of them dependent. The second thing is a good environment. So how exactly you are just preparing and how exactly you are giving this food to the animals. It is important. The third point is about our consistency and inconsistency because animals can get dependent of the food source very easily. So it is important for us to be responsible and just keep some schedule of refilling, right? Then
Mhm.
there are overfeeders. So if you have a grandma, you know what I'm talking about. So even if you are already full, grandma will always stuff you up with another food, right? So this is something that we do out of love, maybe, like nice feelings, but it is not very good for animals. And last thing, we will talk about specific foods that tend to be used for wild creatures, and they are actually very harmful. So that's the plan for today. That's the agenda. So let's dig deeper.
Very good. So let's start with the first topic: feeding not in the right time. Especially, I guess, especially here in Europe and North America, where there is a winter or a strong winter. So, can you explain a little bit what you're meaning by not in the right time, or what's the right
Mhm,
time?
mhm. Yeah. So, a right time for animals living in our hemisphere and in Europe especially, but Asia is in the same area, let's say, and in a very large part of United States as well. If you have like a regular 4 seasons and you have snow during winter, then probably you have also some animals that can suffer from it in tough times. At the beginning of the winter, though, they have plenty of food. You may not see it, but a smart bird can find a lot of seeds out of grass, out of bushes, out of trees, and it is a natural source of food for them. So they are very good in that, in finding it, and trained by their parents usually how to find the best food for them. So, beginning of the winter, it's not a perfect time to start feeding animals. The best time is when already a frost came in and the temperature drops below zero and it's freezing, it's cold, there is not a fresh water available anymore because all the lakes are already frozen to bits. Then there is a right time for us to start feeding animals because in that time the temperature is so low they need more energy to sustain their warmth, and also because of snow and ice, there is not very much of food available because most of the grass is already covered with snow. Bushes are already out of seeds because they've fallen, and that's it. That is the right time for start to support wildlife if you want to do it. So the first rule for you as a friend of nature should be to just observe nature closely and try to understand what you see. So, if you can see that for many days already there is a very, very low temperature, there is strong wind, so all the seeds and fruits are already tossed to the ground and covered with snow. If you can see that there is no seedlings visible in your site, in your garden, then you can start feed animals, and only then. If you will start earlier, then some of the animals can start to be lazy, let's say, because animals are very good in just sustaining energy and using energy very wisely. So if they can like make their belly full in one place, they will keep up to this place, not going anywhere else. And if they are young and they do not know the ways how to look for seeds and little insects and things like that in a natural environment, then they can become addicted, right? And after the first period of winter, they will already be spoiled, let's say, a little bit. And when the first frost will come, they can suffer because if you will forget to, I don't know, refill your feeder once in a while, or I don't know, the really bad condition will happen, they will have no ways other than feed at your window to just maintain their energy so they can even die. And that is why it is very, very important and crucial when to feed animals. Usually, if you are feeding animals for some years already, as I do, then animals will tell you. And that's really beautiful. We can see that there are some how domesticated. But if you already live in a countryside and you are part of the natural processes, it's really nice to see that when the winter is starting to, be more tough, some birds are visible near to the places where usually the feeder standard. So that is information for me that yeah, probably they already struggle. So let's start feed them.
Thank you. This was very cool. Yeah, thank you. Because I remember when I was a kid, my grandma she filled the feeder always in autumn because she said, yeah, the bird should learn it's here when it's cold and they come back when I. Now I know. Okay, it was too early. It was too early.
Yeah, it is the opposite. So at the beginning of winter, there is plenty of food, but yeah, after some time, so in Europe in January, February, that is the time that you should start feeding birds if you want, and yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go to the next topic. You said feeding not in a safe environment. What do you mean by that?
Mm, yeah, as owner of a little dog and cat, I know it by heart, and I found out not in a very pleasant way. So basically, uh, someone just hanged the feeder because we are talking about birds right now, just to simplify it. So someone just hung the feeder near to the table in our porch, so on the terrace. So my cat was able just to sneak near to the feeder, and it was like a perfect spot for him hunt. And I cannot teach him not to do it because it is his instinct. So sadly, we lost some of the birds before we found out that actually the position of a feeder is very important if you have those little predators. Cats and dogs are predators. That's their instinct. And even if you feed your cat or dog with a vegan food, that's fine, all right, you can do so, but you cannot kill the instinct. So if your cat will see that the birds are available at a small distance, they will start to hunt, and they can do more harm than you do good. So it is a very, very important to hang the feeders, to install them in a way that it will be on the plain side, just in the center of some plain site in your garden, or at least in a place that as a cat you cannot like sneak very easily or hide in a near side of the feeder just to hunt for the birds that are occupied with eating.
Absolutely. That's the same like, in Africa, in the Serengeti or in Africa, the lions, they know exactly the best place to hunt is the water hole because every animal is coming there when they're thirsty. So the cat knows exactly there's a feeder. Okay, my food is coming in.
Yes, exactly. So, and the same is when you have dog, you also need to place this feeder away or high above that he will not be able to disturb these animals.
Okay, yeah, good advice. Good advice.
Yeah, if we're talking about the place, it's also important that you check if the feeder has any sharp edges, because
Mm,
in nature there is no, it's not a lot of sharp edges. So usually when a bird is sitting on a, I don't know, a twig or a small branch, it's round. So sometimes if you buy a feeder like this on the picture, you can see that there is I don't know how to call it. There are like traces of forms used to create these plastic things, and they can be sharp. So
yeah.
check with your fingers if the place where the bird will land and sit is rounded, smooth and easy to grip and with no sharp edges. Because if you will make yourself a feeder out of an empty plastic bottle, that's super fun. But make sure that you will smooth the edges because they can be sharp and they can just harm the feet of those fellows.
That's a very good advice. Thanks for that. Thank you.
Hmm?
Yeah, feeding inconstantly. Do you mean we should feed constantly or inconstantly?
Yeah, so I would say there are two ways. If you want to just once in a while toss a little bunch of seeds, you can even, toss it to snow and the birds will find it. If you want to do it just once in a while for fun, that's fine. But if you are hanging a feeder and then you are supplying it, it's important to be consistent. So it's fine if the feeder will be empty for 1 or 2 days, but if you will feed a lot for the week, like you will, refill it for a week consistently, and then for a week you will not refill it, then these animals that are already used to use this feeder as a source of food, they will starve. So the more you feed, and the more you need to be consistent, basically, because the animals will be just more dependent on this food source. So it is important. If you are already if you want to start feed animals, then I would recommend just to have one small feeder and just one in 2 days you can refill it, not to overfeed those animals, and just for fun to see how they, come close to you and you can interact with them somehow, but not as a main food source, because then they became dependent and they will lose their ways, and they will be unable to obtain their food in a natural way.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. Okay, I mean, this is one, I mean, not only for wild animals, also for domestic animals. As I'm here on a camping site, and it's a huge one, and almost on every motorhome there's a dog. And when you look at the owner, or you see the owner first, you know exactly how the dog look like. So you see the dog first, you know exactly how the owners look like.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. Maybe if there will be more time, we could dig deeper into the reasons why actually we want to feed the animals so badly that even in the zoo there is a special, sign uh, telling us directly not to feed animals, right? Maybe it's because this is the easiest way to interact with the wildlife because they
Mm,
are interested in food, and sometimes they are too hungry to keep distance, right? And then they try to reach to us to touch a hand or something like that. So I think we do it because it is like a easiest way to interact with the wildlife, and we are not, especially in the Western communities, we are not used to just to observe, right?
yeah,
We want to do something. So observing is not enough for us. We need stimulation. The animal need to do something, do a trick, or eat a cookie or whatever, right?
yeah.
Don't you think?
We want the attention. We want, it's the ego stuff. We want the attention of the animal. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, and I think it's also sometimes because we want to, see ourselves in a better light. So I can say, yes, I'm so pro eco, I feed animals every day, and I spent 1.5 of my salary just to feed animals. I'm so pro nature, right? So no, 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 it's not the way. If you are really want to interact with wild animals, try to be invisible. That's the best way. So, having just one small feeder for birds in your garden is totally fine, but if you have like 20, then you have a serious influence on the whole population of these birds in your local area. So imagine if you will, I don't know, travel suddenly for 2 weeks, the whole population dependent on you will starve. And some of them will starve to death. So it's very important to be mindful and just use one or two small feeders and not the feeder farm, right?
Okay, that's well, I want a question here because people who are traveling, when you, for example, when you go to Venice or I remember in other cities, with a lot of pigeons, and
Mhm.
people are feeding all these pigeons, and there are thousands and thousands of pigeons, and some communities really have a problem because their shit is really destroying all buildings.
Yeah.
What about feeding pigeons? What's your opinion about that?
Mhm. Well, I would say that pigeons are very clever and they can feed themselves out of scraps and just wastage left everywhere. So they chosen cities for a reason. Actually, pigeons comes from like a natural source of pigeons is mountains. So they love to nest in rocks in the mountains. That's why they chosen cities to live here because our buildings are closest to mountains that they know of. So, as they already are kind of domesticated, they already know their ways how to feed themselves, and they can eat some insects, and also they can feed on some, I don't know, scraps and leftovers everywhere. But if you decide to feed the pigeons on the, I don't know, Saint Mark place or wherever else where it is just like a tradition, then please just do not use bread because bread contains salt and they are not used to salt or any other artificial things. So it's better to feed them with, I don't know, sunflower seeds or some. Some nuts, for example, that you can buy, just not non-processed, natural things, not like bread or pasta or whatever, because they usually contain some colorant and a lot of salt and other different things that they do not like so much.
Okay. An additional question, where you're talking about bread. I see very often that people, especially in the park, with the grandkids, they're feeding the ducks and the gooses with bread. It's also bad for ducks and gooses feeding bread.
Yeah, it's not perfect because actually they are the natural food should be just green parts of plants that are living underwater. So they are snorkeling just to get to algae and other different plants that they can find underwater. So if you feed them with bread, and bread is full of starch, a lot of sugar, then they can get bloated because it is not like a usual food for them, and the digestive system is not ready for this amount of sugar. So it's not a perfect thing for them. It's better to use, for example, vegetables, fresh or cooked vegetables. So you can use some scraps leftovers from your kitchen, from your veggies, and then use it as their food because it will be natural, not too much sugar for them, and not processed. So it would be way better than using bread.
Thanks. That's very important. So, to our listeners, please, when you go with your kids or with your grandkids to the park, feeding the ducks and the goose, please, no bread. Okay, bring
Yeah,
veggies. Okay,
yeah, some beans, green beans, some things like that will be totally fine.
very, very good.
So
Yeah, shrimp is
we
harmful. What is harmful? I mean, it looks delicious. The shrimp.
yeah, exactly. So I think most of us know that for our domestic animals, our human food is not very good. The first reason I already told you, so salt, because they are not used to obtain so much salt in their food. Um, That's the first thing. And the second thing is sugar. And there is a very important distinction between cats and dogs because cats appear not to have a taste for sweet taste. So for them, something sweet is not sweet. They cannot feel it. On the other hand, dogs can feel the sweet tastes, and that's why they are begging for different treats. And you probably know that chocolate is toxic for dogs because
Mhm.
it contains ethyl vanillin, and this is a particle that can be just harmful for the kidneys, and it can even cause death if the dog would eat like a whole piece of a chocolate. It will be really, really bad for him. So, as we know it for domestic animals, it is important also for the wildlife. So, I already said nothing superficial. Human food is not good for wild animals because I don't know, Roland. I never saw a sparrow cooking something on the cattle, right? So
No.
they are used to only to natural things like seeds, like vegetables, fruits, nuts, mushroom, whatever they can find in nature that they can feed on. We can use the same, and if you have any doubts, you can just go to the nearest shop with pet accessories and ask specifically for non-processed food for birds, for example, and you will get yourself like little balls or I don't know, like a bells created out of different seeds and a little bit of seed oil. So only natural things that animals can do. And basically on that, there is some advice, let's say, uh, how to find your ways if you want to support wild animals. So first, if you can just observe animals in your garden, then do so and do not feed them. And if you want to feed them, then first learn your friend. So you can easily find a lot of information in the internet about the particular species of birds that visit your garden. So you can find a lot about red noses and tits and sparrows and birds like that, and learn what is their natural food, and then try to mimic that. So the safe option will always be sunflower seedlings because they contain a lot of oils and contain a lot of energy, which is very useful in the wintertime. Uh, so feed only with not processed food. Then make sure that you are not creating like a hunting zone for your cat or your neighbor's cat, because then the animals will be easily scared and some of them can even be caught. And if you start doing that, just start it when the winter is really hard and the environment conditions are harsh for the animals and there is no food already. So January, February, there is a good time for start feeding then. And yeah, just enjoy. Try not to disturb the animals as they trust you so much to come near to your house. Try to be just, invisible, and they will thank you for that by just living their full natural lives.
Yeah. So they're not stressed. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My dear friend, thank you so much. I learned a lot too. Thank you so much for all this advice. And I know the best way is let the animals like they are, but sometimes, especially in some climate zones where there's a harsh winter, it can be helpful to feed them, but do it the right way. Thank you so much, Marcin. And yeah, I
Thank you,
mean, ladies
Roland.
and gentlemen, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, also for yourself, I always say, always eat as natural as possible. As less processed food is also good for your health. And don't overfeed yourself. And maybe you have a new research solution you can follow. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're coming to an end. Thanks a lot for watching. Please go to our website, respectmotherearth.com. You can also email us if you want to have a topic to discuss, or maybe you are very engaged in environment. Maybe you're engaged in avoiding plastic, collecting plastic, educating kids or people on environmental topics, taking care about the wildlife. Whatever you're doing on this topic, let us know. We can invite you and introduce your engagement or your foundation to a public audience. So thanks a lot, Marcin. Thanks a lot. See you later on the Men
Thank
Show.
you.
And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we see each other again, same time, same procedure in 2 weeks. So actually Wednesday the 25th, there's the next Earth Show. Thanks a lot and bye-bye.